you. Vernon, thanks for that welcome, man. So, like these networking things are this is gold. It's always worth the price of admission, whether it's free, $20 or $200. So, if you want to take some notes today, if you have your laptop, you'll actually be able to fill out the notes. If you want to use your laptop on. If you don't have your laptop, you can open up your phone. Do that as well. Or you can open your phone and send it to your laptop. I don't know what it's up to. So there's also, I know this is the ROI event, but my web guy sells the website is go to Rio. So you can send it a little part together. Yeah, that was working. I'm gonna try your other one. See if it's working this time. Hey, there we go. That was this morning. All right. Okay. Well, first of all, before I get started, I want to welcome you to the Friend Maker Workshop. The foundation of business is friendship. Not just relationships, friendship. What I have found in the 9 years that I've been selling homes in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, is that my clients are my friends. My business partners are my friends. My friends are my friends. And so when I came up with this concept, I say came up with this, when I wrote a book about it 2 years ago, I had in the back of my mind this thought that people were going to have when they heard me speak. We talk about fears of things that we're going to experience whenever we go to networking groups, or when you put something out there in print, like you've exposed yourself to the world. So when they actually, like people actually started reading it, it made me a little nervous because I'm like, oh no, they're going to find out how I really think about stuff. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to kind of take that whole concept of you're not supposed to mix business and friendship, that taboo, that we all kind of know, and flip it on its head and just say, you know what? Honestly, if integrity and character and trust are built, you can make friends with your clients. You can have friendships in business, and it's okay. Yes, there are times when you need to set boundaries. Sometimes there are people that are difficult to deal with. But for the most part, 99.9% of the clients that I have worked with, 99.9% of the referral partners that I have, they're my friends. And when you move into my town as a real estate agent, when you move into my town, I feel like I'm on the welcome wagon. So my job is to introduce you to all the people that I have been doing life with for the last 25 years in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or Nashville area. And so you get my friends. So when I decided to start teaching this, I actually had my own personal friends give me recommendations. They read my book, or read pieces of my book at least, and I asked them, will you please write something to put in the front of my book? And so when I sent the cover of my book to my friends, you can see, what's that on the front of it? Yeah, you can say, you can speak. It's a pineapple, right? So one of my friends was like, Art, was like, I love your concept. I love everything you're doing. He said, you cannot put a pineapple on the front of your book. So let me ask you guys a question. When you see a pineapple, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? SpongeBob. Swingers. That's it, right? You know, of course, you dirty, filthy minds. But this is, listen, I mean, this is the thing, right? It's not, okay? This is not that kind of friendship, all right? I just want to make that real clear before we get started today. That's not what I'm teaching. I'm not into that at all. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about creating a website called Reclaim the Pineapple, right? So that we can reclaim the pineapple for its pure state. You know, the pineapple is it's an interesting case study in history. Back in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean, right? And in 1493, he discovered the pineapple tree. I don't think it's a tree, but anyway, it might be. I think they grow out of the ground. Yeah. Again, not a super expert on pineapples, but what I can tell you is that when they discovered that delicacy, they started to take it and ship it back to Europe. And eventually, because it was so rare, it became this really amazing, fruit that these people, it actually went for like $8,000 of fruit at one point. So it was very, very rare. If you know anything about pineapples, it takes them a few days to go bad, but it doesn't take long, right? So they would ship them back to Europe. They would adorn the palaces and the places of kings and queens and emperors and empresses and that kind of stuff. Eventually, the colonial world down there in the Caribbean would start to put pineapples out on the like on flags. Like the hospitality industry started to really take it. Sometimes you'll go to a hospital, like a hotel, and you'll see the pineapple is this symbol of welcome and friendship. Oftentimes people would take a pineapple when they had new people coming over to eat, and they would impale a pineapple on the iron gate out front as a sign of welcome. They put it at the top of the feast. They would give a pineapple away to somebody to just say, hey, welcome, you are my friends. So I thought, what a great symbol to illustrate what it is that I really want to teach people in business. That we ought to be bearers of pineapples in the world and give friendship to our clients, to our strategic business partners, and to the people that lead and run and are part of our communities. And that's the foundation of what I'm going to be teaching you guys today. And so today, when I went out to buy this pineapple, I thought, hey, I'll get a lady to take a picture of me so the produce lady took a picture of me while I have my pineapple. Tell you a little about myself. My name is Art Kelly. I'm married. Been married for 28 years. I have 4 children. I'm halfway to an empty nest. My 2 boys are out of the house. Actually, my second one's moving out next week. I have 2 daughters. One's about to graduate homeschool, and I have a 14-year-old daughter who is about to go to Disney next week with her cheer team from Middle Tennessee Christian School. And so we're in the business of life right now. I'm also a real estate agent. Been selling homes for 8 years, going on my 9th year now, and have had a good measure of success in my business. Have really grown and learned. Listen, guys, I'm of the opinion that if you feel like you have arrived, you have got a lot longer way to go. So there is nothing in me. One of the things that I wrote down as you were talking about networking and stuff, one of the things that kind of comes up for me is just remaining humble in networking groups. One of the easiest things for us to do when we walk into a networking event or group or community of people is to come in and be like, well, I have this knowledge and I'm going to impart that to these people. Or they need to send business to me because I'm so important or whatever. And of course, most people don't have that attitude, but every once in a while you do run across those kinds of folks. And so I just want to encourage you, just remain humble, remain teachable, remain willing to learn. That is the most important, I think, characteristic that any of us in business can have. I have not got this figured out. I'm still growing in my business. Business is slow right now. My pipeline is a little bit lower right now in my own personal business. So you're not talking to somebody who's making $1 million next month, okay? I want to make the money. I want to make that kind of money someday. And here's how I believe I'm going to do that. Lots of networking, lots of friendship. And I always have believed that I'm always only one conversation away from the one that really changes it all. I'm looking for gatekeepers. I'm looking for people that I know can open up doors that I know I would never be able to open on my own. And so you ought to have the same mentality as well, because there are gatekeepers in your community that are there. You just haven't met them yet. Okay? All right. That's my introduction. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. Part one, we're going to talk about the problem that we face, a discussion about the importance of putting the personal back into your business. Then I'm going to go through what I call the 7 spheres of a friend maker. It's what this book is about. The book is a philosophy of business that I call the friend maker philosophy. And the reason why I wrote the book was because I just kept running into people in business who just really, they kind of sucked as people. A lot of my clients were having experiences with other people that do what I do as a real estate agent, and they were telling me I really hated my real estate agent. They really didn't take care of me. They helped me find a house, and then they didn't show up until closing day. We never talked at all. There was no communication. They didn't care. All they cared about was making money off of me, and I never heard from them after they sold me a home. And I thought, man, that's a big deal. I mean, we make a lot of money on these deals. You know, you could sell a house, make $10, $20, $50, $100,000 on something. It kind of behooves us to, at the very least, communicate with and build good, strong, solid relationships with the people that we're serving so that they can refer us business and so that they'll repeat business with us. And the truth is that most real estate agents are really, really bad at follow-up and staying consistent in the lives of the people. Because we don't have, like we talked about earlier on, systems. We don't have those. I'm going to give you guys some mindset stuff, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a system. And hopefully when you walk away from this today, you'll be able to at least, I think you're going to resonate with the stuff I'm going to tell you. I don't want to just leave you with, here's what you should do. I want to give you guys some practical steps at the end. And that's what we'll talk about with the 21-day Friend Maker Challenge. Okay? All right. So we're here to sharpen our axes. There's an ancient proverb that says, if the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed. But skill will bring success. We're going to talk about the skill of making friends. That's what we're doing today. Jim Rohn, one of the things I've found in the last 10 years of doing my business is that there are people that are a whole lot wiser, smarter, knowledgeable, and have a whole body of work about how to be salespeople, about how to be good people, about how to market yourself and run your business. There's guys like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale, Og Mandino, Napoleon Hill. They've all written some really great classic books. I highly recommend that you start making consumption of these people. If you're in business, you own a business, you sell a product or market, the mind is the most important thing. You are in a mental game. And if you really want to succeed and grow and push yourself outside of the limits of where you think you already are, you're going to need to grow in your personal growth. And so that's why guys like the ones that I just mentioned are really, really, really helpful. There's also some newer folks that are out there. Mel Robbins is really great. Tony Robbins also. I don't know if they're related. I don't think so. Brendan Burchard is really, really great and helpful. Brian Buffini. If you're a real estate agent and you don't know who Brian Buffini is, I would write that name down today because you need to start listening to Brian Buffini. But here's the deal. Jim Rohn said this: learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you make a fortune. It's really helpful. All right, here's the problem that we face. We live in a world that is just not personal. It's just business. You ever heard the phrase, it's not personal, it's just business? Hold on. It's always personal. Every single person you deal with is a person. They're human beings. They are not just a product for you to sell or a person to sell to. They're a human being to work with, to help, to serve, to find out. They've got dreams, they've got ideas, and they've got struggles, they've got successes, they've got joys and triumphs, they've got pain in their life. And you're stepping into their life and you have absolutely no idea what they're dealing with in that moment. And so you need to start understanding that the people that you're working with are people, just like you and me. I guarantee you there's lots of us in this room. You have struggles. You're worried, you're anxious about something today. You've got something going on in your life today. The truth is we're dealing with human beings. And so we need to just remember our own humanity while we help the people, the humans that we're working with. So we're going to put the personal back into business today. All right, here's what we do. I think I've seen this a lot. This has just been my observation. And listen, I'm about to turn 50 this year. I was talking earlier on, there's some really great things that we can learn from each generation. You can learn a lot of stuff from me. I can learn a lot of stuff from you. I'm learning things from my children every single day that I had no idea. And I am learning how I come across sometimes to my children's generation, and I don't realize it. And so they're teaching me how to become more sensitive to the world that they're living in. And a lot of times I think we all kind of struggle because we're like, especially as we get older, we just get really set in our ways. I'm very set in my ways. It's taken me forever to start understanding more of how to engage socially on digital platforms and things like that. Because I grew up in a world where I didn't have an iPad. And I grew up in a world where you could talk, you make friends, and you just go out in the neighborhood and you walk 3 or 4 miles away, and mom and dad never worried about you. And you'd be like gone for a whole night, and they'd be like, "Oh, where'd you go?" And so this just not the world we live in. And so there's things that we've kind of seen though with the rise of the digital, the Facebook, the Instagrams, and all that kind of stuff. And what I'm seeing in my own business and in my own marketing is that oftentimes there is this over reliance on digital and social channels to do everything for us. There's also this overuse of email drip campaigns. Now listen, I don't have a problem with a drip campaign, but here's the deal. Like I have mortgage people that send me their drip, they've signed me up for their drip campaign. They're all 3 in the same actual company. And so every Monday I get from Bob, Mary, and June from such and such, I get the exact same email every Monday. You know what I don't get from them? A phone call. I don't get a handwritten note. I don't get, hey, you want to go grab coffee? I just get a drip campaign. Do you think I'm going to be using these folks whenever it comes time to actually send a client to somebody? There's one of them that I do because he actually does, but the other ones that I delete. They're monkeys on my back, and I got to get rid of them because it's just annoying. Over dependence on digital everything to keep in touch with your clients. I'm not saying don't do digital. I'm just saying don't only do digital. Don't trust. There's so much money that is being spent by the machine of social media organizations to convince you that you are not doing enough marketing through their platforms. And so they're trying to get you to pay money to do all the marketing through them. Make no mistake, there is money behind that message. And they're making a buttload of money. And so again, I'm not saying you can't use platforms. Obviously there are ways to do that, and some of them you do need to pay for, and that's okay. But I just want to challenge you that see it for what it is. There is a narrative that is being sold to you that you need to do X, Y, Z in order to do business. And the truth is you don't have to spend that much money to just make friends. You just don't. Take a balanced approach. All right. Do this. What I want to teach you guys today, again, this is just basic stuff. You do need to have face-to-face. So put face-to-face, like on your list of things to do this week, you need to have face-to-face interactions with people. Not just phone calls, but yes, phone calls, but face-to-face. Face-to-face is the number one way for you to market yourself with people. That's why going to networking groups is really great. I'll be honest with you, the last couple of years, I kind of reached the point of what I felt like was equilibrium in my business. I had built a strong network that was referring a lot of business to me. And then the last 2 years, my real estate market kind of, right? And they didn't have any referrals to send me. And I thought, what's going on? The market's this. I mean, interest rates are so high. But then other realtors that I knew were still selling homes. And I'm like, well, people are still buying stuff. They're just not buying it from me. And what I realized during that 2 years was that I had reached a point where I thought I had done enough work to get me where I want to go. Now, I had done enough work to get me where I've been. But I have had to kind of rethink and regrow my business over the last year and a half. And I've had to actually start to be more intentional. I got to a point where I was kind of a networking snob. You ever been there? It's like, oh, those networking groups, those people in those networking groups, they're there because they're desperate. They need business. Yeah. What's wrong with that? It's not wrong to need business. Here's the deal. We all need business, and there's only one place we get business from. It's other people. This is not a Lone Ranger sport. So, yeah. So I had to kind of change that mindset and realize, instead of coming into a group and going, how can I get out of these people? I started just kind of approaching it from, how do I just come in and just give? Instead of just asking for referrals every single time, why not come in and bring value? Why not come in and, hey, what's going on in your business right now? I love asking the question, do you have a problem that I can solve today? I think that's a really great question. And it's not a hard question to ask. And sometimes I just say it like this, I'm like, do you have a problem that a residential real estate agent can solve? And then immediately they go, oh, you're looking for a referral, aren't you? I'm like, no, seriously. I mean, I'm in the business. I make friends for a living. I know a lot of people. What do you need? So learning how to be that kind of person. Write handwritten notes, hold parties, attend networking groups, and start community workshops. I have a lot to cover today, guys, because we haven't even gotten into the 7 spheres of a friend maker. So this is Minda. I just met her this morning at Kroger over in Turtle Creek, where I'm staying, and she, as we were just talking a little bit, she started telling me a little bit about her not liking being at Kroger. She's been there for 16 years, and she's just like, but I'm going to school. I'm an empty nester, and I'm trying to learn business right now. She said, it's really interesting that you're here today. And so I went back out to my car, grabbed a book, signed it for her, and just gave it to her there, and said, thank you so much. And we talked, and she's got 4 kids. She's a sweet lady. And I gave her my card, and I said, I'm not around here. I'm in the Nashville area. If you know anybody looking to make a move, please send them my way. I'd love to work with any of your referrals, but I hope this book is helpful for you. I hope this is a good day for you. It's great to be able to be personal with people. All businesses are personal. The best are very personal. Mark you. You want to know who your friends are? Start your own business and ask for their support. Yeah. Steve Jobs, right? He was a genius, and he's right. You will find out very quickly who the people that support you are and who the ones are that are not. So the idea of the 7 spheres of a friend maker starts with this. Being a friend maker is about building authentic, I've heard that word multiple times today, sustaining relationships with your clients and your strategic business partners in the communities where you live. It's about opening your ears and your heart to people so that you can serve them better and help them truly get what they want. Zig Ziglar used to say it this way: if you help enough people get what they want, you won't ever have to worry about getting what you want. I think it's so true, guys. It's the golden rule, right? It's do unto others as you would expect them to do unto you. I think that's a great concept. The 7 spheres of a friend maker, you can take it's in the notes, so you can just take a snapshot of that. I'll go over these here in just a minute. Before I get started, too, another thought that I had, I didn't put this in this presentation. Why spheres, Art? Why not circles or steps or whatever? Well, I thought about spheres. A sphere is a 3-dimensional structure. If you think of like the sphere in Las Vegas, you can actually enter into that space. It's not just a circle, it's a sphere. It's a 3-dimensional place that you can live in, right? And so the idea of this was 7, when you meet a client for the very first time and you start taking them through the process of building a relationship with them, what does that look like? So my wife and I, back in 2020, we got a chance to go away for a few days down to Florida. It was super cheap to get a room at a hotel in Fort Walton Beach because everybody was afraid of the death virus. And so it was during that time that I started to just ask my wife, like, what have I been doing in business for the last few years? What does that look like, and what is the process of it? And we started just kind of throwing out words, like they all started with the letter L. And so what you're going to see here literally came out of a conversation with my wife. The words kind of came to us in the order that you see them. It was really kind of odd and weird. Maybe something divine, maybe it's just, coincidence, or just I'm just a dummy and I just wrote a bunch of work with else. I don't know. Either way, what came out of that, what I found was, this is the process that I take people. So when I meet you for the first time, the very first thing I do with my client is this first sphere. I live in the sphere of listening to my clients. So when you meet somebody for the very first time, that's the first sphere. Listen to your clients. There's a core attitude underneath every sphere, so you'll see that as I'm about to share. The core attitude underneath the sphere of listening is attentiveness. It's attentiveness. So attentiveness in the sphere of listening for a friend maker shows up in 3 intentional practices. Number 1, shut off distractions. So if you're with somebody, you're meeting them for the very first time, and you have your phone, which I put over there, which is good. It's good. That's why I did that. If you have your phone right here, it's going to buzz on you. It's going to distract you while you're talking to somebody. If you have it out on the table, and it's sitting there while you're having coffee with somebody, guess what's going to happen? It's just going to light up and buzz, right? So what do a lot of us do? We flip it over as though that helps, right? But then it's like, and like, no. Take your daggone phone and put it in your purse, put it in your bag, get it out of sight, leave it in your car, but shut off the distractions. You need to be able to attend to the person that's sitting right in front of you. I struggle with this. It is a constant struggle because we all are addicted to our phones. And our clients will see it, they will know it, and they will feel it when we are distracted. So shut off distractions. Shut off distractions. Second thing, ask lots of questions. You've got to know people. You've got to get to know them a little bit. And the way you listen to people is by asking them questions and then shutting your mouth and letting them speak. So you got to ask a lot of questions. And then finally, take plenty of notes. When you meet with a client for the very first time, you should have a notepad with you. Even if you're really good and you have a photographic memory and you can memorize everything coming up, have a notepad there anyway so that you show them that you are being attentive to them. When you're listening to them, write down the stuff. Yeah. Even though you might know it here, they need to see you write it here because it will show them that you're being attentive and that you're actually listening. That's the sphere of listening. Okay? Steve Shapiro, old network marketing guy, passed away a few years ago, said this: listening is the language of love. We communicate that we care about our clients when we actually turn everything off, ask lots of questions, take some notes, and listen. Sphere number 2, the sphere of learning. Learn your clients. So now that you've listened to your clients, I want you to learn. And the core attitude underneath learning your clients is understanding. Understanding. There's a Bible verse that says, live with your wives in an understanding way. Still trying to figure that out after 28 years. But understanding in the sphere of learning for a friend maker shows up in 3 intentional practices. Number 1, gather information. So some of y'all have heard of this. This is an old sales technique, strategy, whatever you want to call it. It's called the Ford method. Have you ever heard of that? Raise your hand if you've ever heard of the Ford method. So the Ford method is this. When you're talking with somebody, if you don't know what to talk about, the Ford method is a great acronym to use to just kind of, in your mind, start being able to think of some things to be able to learn about these people. So for example, F stands for family. O is occupation. R is recreation. What do you do for fun? What do you do for the weekends? That kind of stuff. And then dreams. What are you dreaming about? And so these are some questions. So just kind of have that acronym in the back of your mind when you go to a network meeting and you're talking to people. Just start thinking. Start with the easiest thing. Family, not business. Don't talk shop. You're going to get the opportunity to talk shop. Okay, everybody knows that's why you're there at a business meeting. Whatever. Talk about your family. Hey, you got kids? Married? What's going on in your life? Now that might be a sore spot for some people. So you have to be sensitive and you have to be able to discern a little bit when you're talking to somebody. Where have I hit a button? If there's something that needs to be, kind of back off a little bit, right? But the way you get to learn people is you listen to them and you start asking them a lot of questions and you start kind of moving along in this gathering of information. Second thing, find out what they want. A great question to ask somebody when you're getting to know them is, so tell me, what's going on? What do you really want in business? That'll get you deep real fast, right? And it takes, I think the word again, courage. It does. It takes courage to be able to put yourself in a position where you can honestly ask a question to somebody else of what do they want. I would say also, maybe just a little aside from that, maybe be able to answer that question for yourself before you pose it to somebody else. Maybe that'd be a good question for you to write down today. What do I want? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my occupation? What do I want for fun, for recreation? What do I want? What are my dreams? I think it's really good for us to do some self-evaluation before we step into a space where we start trying to offer help to other people. Listen, we all need each other, right? We all need each other, but we need to know a little bit about who we are. And if you don't know what you want, it's going to be really hard to get where you're going. Because where are you going if you don't know what you want? It's an important question to ask. And then finally, give them room to breathe. Once you've met them, once you've barraged them with 1,000 questions, once you've asked them the deepest question, what do you want? Step back, let them talk, figure out what's going on in that conversation, and maybe just let them breathe a little bit. Maybe just, let them talk. Let them kind of, Sometimes when you're dealing with a client, sometimes they're not ready to make a sale. I know agents that have really pressed for the close, right? Always be closing. Guys, sometimes you just need to give people space. They might not use you, and you need to be okay with that. They might not talk to you again until 3 days from now, and you need to be okay with that from time to time. You need to be discerning and figure out when it's appropriate to give them the necessary nudge. I've got a lot of clients that are sitting on the fence right now that I'm really kind of nudging a little bit right now and say, hey, no pressure. I'm not trying to be a sales pitchy guy, but the market is pretty good and ripe for a buyer right now. We don't have a whole lot of competition. The rates aren't great, but when the rates do, and if the rates do come down, prices will go up even higher than what they are now. And so if you're a buyer, and you're able to, maybe consider it, right? So I'm having those kind of conversations, the necessary nudge type of conversations. But you got to give them room to breathe. Sometimes they don't need the necessary nudge, but sometimes you just need to stop. You just need to go. Information good? Overload? Oh, sorry. All right, good. I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you next week. Whatever. Give them time, give them room. Trust the process. Number 3, the sphere of liking. I want to challenge you to like your clients. Listen, the truth is, guys, it's hard to like everybody. Some people are just unlikable. But here's the real underlying attitude. I want to challenge you to respect people. For whatever reason, they are who they are, the way they are, responding the way they are, because of whatever is going on with them. And they've got a story that you don't know. So show them respect. Here's what it looks like. Look pretty good. Sometimes it's hard. You got to learn how to deal with these difficult people. The know-it-alls, the ones that are arrogant, they've got an opinion about everything. The gripers, they just complain. Well, the market's just this. Oh my gosh, the interest rates. I'm never going to, I want to, but I can't because of this. The yes people, they just do everything you say, but they never really actually have an opinion. You don't want these ones. The passives, the ones that never offer ideas or let you know where they stand. The no people, they just immediately go straight to the negative. They're like, nope, sorry, not going to happen, never going to do it. And then finally, the dictators, the ones that really just try to manhandle you and the whole situation and control, even though they've only sold or bought 3 or 4 homes in their lifetime, and you've been doing multiple a month. They know everything, the bullies. You just got to have to learn how to deal with the bullies. But you got to look for the good. So here's how you start with that. Have you ever seen Nacho Libre? Anybody seen this movie? Okay, it's the greatest movie ever made. If you haven't watched it, it's It's Jack Black. He's funny. But the whole movie, he just takes himself so seriously, And it's just so funny because it's just a constant banter. But what happens to a lot of us is we take ourselves way too seriously in our business, and we need to learn how to just kind of chill out. And again, like I said before, trust the process and make our clients laugh. Make them laugh. A lot of times I'll send them little memes, or I'll have a joke or something of the day, and I'll throw it out there to the world. And I just try to bring some joy. Brendan Burchard says this quite a bit. He says, bring the joy. When you come into a room, don't reflect the temperature of the room. Change the temperature. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer, right? Come in and just up the temperature. Don't reflect it, because you walk into most rooms and it's like, wah, wah, Debbie Downer, it's so cold in here. The interest, like, how many times have you heard that conversation over the last year? The economy, the election, the interest rates, the Fed, the mortgage rates, wah, wah. Who cares? I get to control my own economy. And the way I do that is I make a ton of friends. There's this concept that I'm going to challenge you to look at. Write this down. It's called dig your well before you're thirsty. I do a whole session on this for business people. But dig your well before you're listen, we all get thirsty for tangible things and intangible things. We get thirsty for business. We get thirsty for money. We get thirsty for referrals. We get thirsty for a job sometimes, right? We get thirsty for love. We get thirsty for community and relationship and hope and joy. And all of these things, tangible and intangible, come to us through people. Your well is a well of relationships that you dig, that you build, that you expand, and you go deep, and you go wide, and you nurture and curate and strengthen. To the extent that you have a well that is deep and wide and strong, is the extent that you will be able to draw those intangibles and tangibles in your life. If you haven't built a well that is deep and wide and strong, then that is the extent that you'll be able to draw when you're thirsty from that. So if you've only got a few relationships, if your database only has 100 people in it, you got some work to do. You probably need to have about 600 or 700 people in your constant, regular contact care community of people and relationships. That's what your well needs to look like. What I've found out over the last couple of years is that the 250 to 300 people that I had spent most of my time the first 5 years of my business building were not enough to carry me through the market shifting down where I needed more referrals. I've been putting the same pressure on the same people who had plenty of referrals to give me back in 2020, 21, and 22. But I had not increased the size of my database to where I was putting less pressure on all those people, maybe giving more people that pressure. And also just building those relationships. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, all of our work, every bit of us in business, it's all about who you know and how many people you know. And so I just want to challenge you guys. Like people, love them, spend time with them, and just get out there and be a part of their lives. Sphere number 4 is the sphere of loyalty. Be loyal to your clients. The core attitude underneath loyalty is advocacy. You are to advocate for these people. So after you've listened to them, and after you've gotten to know them a little bit, and after you've kind of gotten to like them a little bit, now it's time to actually get to do your job with them. So as a real estate agent, I get to do a lot of stuff, and it comes along with this stuff. First of all, show up. And again, this is for whatever business you're. You don't have. This is not just real estate specific. This is any industry, any sales business. Show up. This is my client, Joey Martinez. Joey is the manager. He's the general manager of the House of Cards in Nashville. Joey moved here from California a few years ago. I met him because my wife is a photographer, and she was taking pictures of their extended family. And anyway, he bought a house about an hour and a half south of Nashville, and he runs a really big and very popular venue in the downtown Nashville area. But one of the things I found out about Joey was that these were some things that he really responded to. Answer your phone calls. Communicate and answer, like pick up the phone. Call somebody back within a short period of time. Respond to emails. Somebody emails you something, respond. Don't just let it sit out there for 3 or 4 days. Do the best you can to respond to emails. Proactively reach out. Actually show up and be present every single day. Show up every single day. Be tenacious every single day. Show up. Second thing, negotiate skillfully. Negotiate skillfully. When you're dealing with any kind of transactional anything, there's negotiation that's going to happen. One of the things that salespeople are not liked for is this, what feels like conflict. It's like, if you've ever been to the Middle East, sometimes, especially as Americans, we don't really know what to do when you're in a market somewhere and somebody's really trying to go back and forth and barter with you. We're very uncomfortable in that space here in America. But the truth is, there is a bit of bartering and negotiating that has to happen in every business deal. And honesty and kindness are important, but at the same time, we also need to understand how to skillfully negotiate. Most of us don't know how to do that very well. There's a really great book called Never Split the Difference by a guy named Chris Voss, who used to be an FBI negotiator. Chris Voss said this: negotiate in their world. Persuasion is not about how bright or smooth or forceful you are. It's about the other party convincing themselves that the solution you want is their own idea. So don't beat them with logic or brute force. Ask them questions that open paths to your goals. It's not about you. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and try to negotiate from that viewpoint. That's always the best way to start when it comes to that. Again, I do a whole other session on negotiation. Fight for your clients. Fight for your clients. The clients need to know that you're willing to deliver whatever knockout punch you got to do in a friendly way to get stuff done for them. My friend Joey asked me a question in the middle of this was like 5 or 6 years ago, that really changed the way I negotiated. And the question was, what's it going to take for us to make this happen today? Learn how to ask that question. It is a fighting question. Because at the end of the day, you can hem-haw all day long about this, that, and the other, whatever. Get to the point. What's it going to take to make this happen today? That's how we show that we're advocating for people. The spirit of leaping. We leap for our clients. The core attitude is risk. Yep, you're going to have to risk. So that looks like come to Jesus conversations sometimes. You've got to tell the truth. This is my client, Mike and Sue Stokey. Mike was a very, very wealthy and intelligent and experienced CPA, and he operated multiple Arthur Andersons all over the country. Decided to move into the Nashville area a few years ago. I was out of my league with Mike. I was not that kind of guy who had ever dealt with anybody like Mike before. And as I was talking to Mike, Mike was the smartest person in the room. I have permission to talk about Mike from his wife. And so what I found in that negotiation with them was that honesty and just complete directness with him was what he needed. Come to Jesus conversations. I know you think this. Here's the reality. Here's what you need to do. You don't have to take my advice, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when you don't. And then you're going to come back to me and wonder why you didn't take my advice before. Having honest conversations and having the ability to say, you know what, this is the moment where you might actually walk away from me because I'm about to tell you something that you don't want to hear. Tell the truth. The sad thing about Mike and Sue's situation, we ended up helping them buy this house. It was a really beautiful house in Franklin. A year later, I found out Mike passed away from a heart attack. And I still keep in touch with Sue. I actually talk to Sue probably once every quarter at least, just to check up on her, see how she's doing. We haven't yet had that coffee or brunch that we've been talking about. My wife knows her. But we just have good conversations. We don't talk about real estate. We just talk about how's life, what's going on, how are you doing, is there anything you need? Because I make friends for business. I'm not looking at transactions all the time. Sure, it was one of the biggest sales I ever made. She may sell it someday. I might be the realtor she uses. I don't really care. I just want to be her friend. And that's what this is about. Tell the truth. Go deep with people, not just why. This is the Gaines Menifee family. They just bought a house back in November. And it takes a village to do what we all do in business. And so you just have to learn. This took 6 months from initial contact to actually closing on a house for her. And they had a baby, got married, and bought a house all in the same year. I was like, yeah, that's great. And I was there, and we just went deep. Finally, give 110%, leave nothing for the trip back. You have 3 choices in life: give up, give in, or give it all you got. I want to challenge you to give it all you got. Erwin McManus, one of my favorite communicators, said this: if failure is our inevitable future, then let's fail boldly and fail forward. Whatever happens, let's not hide behind the excuse that we didn't give it everything we had. Perhaps the life we long for is beyond the point of no return. Our clients need us to give it all. Sphere number 6, the sphere of leading. The core attitude of this one is service. Service in the sphere looks like this: know your craft. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with everything you've got. Make sure you know how to do it. This is my quote. You can make friends with your clients all day long, but if you suck at your job, you probably won't be friends with them for long. Being a skilled professional matters. Provide wisdom based on experience. Warren Bennett says leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Finally, model a servant's heart. It really doesn't get much better than, Jesus. He said, among you will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader must become a servant. Serve your clients well. Be humble and be a good servant to your clients. Brian Buffini says, take care of existing clients in such a way that they continue to use your service and also refer them to others. Sphere number 7 is the sphere of loving. This is the final sphere that you dwell in with your clients. So you've taken them from listening to learning to liking to being loyal to leaping for them to leading them well as a skilled professional. Now I want to challenge you to love your client long after you sell them something. I want to challenge you not to treat your client like a commodity so that you can get a paycheck out of them, but that actually they are now a part of your community and that you can connect them to your community. If you are in the business of in the real estate industry or welcoming people into the town that you're in, at the end of the day, your job is to connect people to other people that are good people that have been helping you while you've been doing your life in this community. So, love these people. I keep hearing people say, don't come here from California, we're full. I get it. I watched Nate Bargatze, if y'all saw him on the Christmas thing. He had a really great, it was really funny, come here, visit, and then leave. Right? That was the whole thing. The truth is, guys, let's be welcoming. Tennessee is like the friendliest state. We ought to be friendly people. We ought to love them well. So care. Care about these people. Care about them and reward their trust. Anne Frank said it this way: no one has ever become poor by giving. Learn how to be a generous human being. You don't have to have money to give to people. Relationship is a gift. Give them you. Give them your network. Give them your community. Give them your knowledge. Give them your love. Give them everything you've got. And you maybe give them your money from time to time. Maybe give them a gift card. Learn how to reward their loyalty to you. If they were a good client, show up on closing day or a couple weeks after they move into their home or after they finish whatever the deal is at you, and just give them a little gift card or introduce them to somebody that you know that can offer them a free service that they didn't have before. Develop a system of after the sale client care. My system is called the 21-Day Friend Maker Challenge. I'll go over it here in just a minute. Follow up consistently, systematically, intentionally, professionally, relationally, and do it and commit to it. The systems thing is a really, really important aspect of all of it. If you look at all of the people that coach people in business, what they're all selling to you is their system. All of them. No matter who it is coaching anybody, anywhere, they're selling you a system. They're selling you how to do this. I told you who you need to be, but you need to have a system to put that into place. Andy Stanley says 80% of your problems are not people problems, they're systems problems, because systems create behaviors. Talks don't create behaviors. As much as I'd love to say that me standing here and telling you all this stuff is going to create you motivation to go out and do all that you need to do, the truth is talks really don't create them. Cool environments don't create any behaviors. Systems create behaviors. Plans, goals, habits, activities, things that you do. Because a lot of people have really great intentions in business, but never do anything. So you need to have a system. The person who dies with the most friends wins. All right, let me tell you a little quick story, and then I'll show you my system, and I'm done. So 26 years ago, I was working in the nonprofit world and went through a really rough time with some stuff that was going on. And there was a guy that kind of pulled me underneath his wing and just really poured into me during that time. He just loved me and became my friend. His name is Dave Sowards, and Dave and I, over the years, he lives in West Virginia. He's a financial planner, a mentor of mine. The last 25, 26 years, I mean, we've just been friends. We've talked. We've just grown close to each other. We know each other's families. His kids were little when I met him. Now my kids are almost grown, and his wife and his daughter and son, they're just they live up in West Virginia, and they just have a great life. When I wrote my book, the main character in the book is the guy who teaches the workshop. It's a story, so the book isn't just like principles or whatever. It's written in a story format, so it'll be hopefully a little easier for you to read. And he goes to this workshop, and this guy named Dave Sawyer is the workshop teacher. Dave Sawyer is Dave Sowards. Okay. I called Dave about a year and a half ago when I started promoting the book, and he was one of the last people I sent one to, and I felt kind of bad because the book was about him, and I meant to give him one of the first copies. I signed it, sent a copy to him, and I called him. I'd take a picture of the post office and called him, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I said, I wrote this book. I got copies here, and I'm sending it to you. Please let me know if you have anything to do. I hope it's a blessing to you. And he said, I'm not old. And he said, he said, crazy problem right now. He said, I was like, wow, what's going on? So I just thought out Thursday, and I go, okay. And and I was like, wow, that's pretty good work. 7 weeks later, Dave was dead. They never actually remember. I went to his funeral in May of that year, and I got to see his daughter and his son as they were receiving the receiving line. And I was talking to his daughter, and she introduced me to her husband, who I had never met before, as the guy who wrote a book about her dad, which was really fun and really cool. And I asked her, did he ever get a chance when he got sick right after? And she said, yeah, he got really sick right after. And he didn't. She said, but I know he would really love that he'd written a book. And so I sat down, and like when we go around to the back, I mean, the receiving line was like 2 hours long. There were people in the parking lot. I mean, the line was so long, it was huge. And so not all the people got to be a part of the receiving line. So we sat down, and one by one, people started to come up and started sharing about Dave. And they started saying stuff like, Dave listened. Dave was loyal to me. Dave loved me. And I realized Dave was the message of my book. He didn't have to. I looked at my wife and I said, Dave wins. In the end, when we do what we do, it's always about people. It never wasn't about people. We forgot that somewhere along the line. I want to remind you, it doesn't matter what kind of cars you drive, what kind of homes you build, what kind of vacations you take. We'll get to do those things. They're great. They're fun. I love doing things. What really matters in the end is people. Make a lot of friends. Even if you never get anything out of it. Just make friends. You'll have a full and happy life. And you might get to do some pretty cool things along the way with some of them, maybe not with that, maybe with your family or whatever. Focus on people, you'll get what you want. Let me show you how I do that. I hate lead generation. Can I just say that out loud? I hate the word, I hate the term, I hate when we all talk about it. Lead generation, buy leads, sell leads, all that stuff. Just make friends. Just make friends. That's my book. I have this thing that I do every once in a while called the 21-Day Friend Maker Challenge. And basically what I do is it came out of the idea of the 75 hard challenge. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of that. It's like a mental challenge, a physical challenge. 75 hard. For 75 days, you're supposed to do 5 critical daily tasks every day for 75 days. If you fail on day 59, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and start all over again. It's a really great challenge. I got the coin last year. I actually finally made it all the way through the 75 hard last year, and then I put all the weight back on it. But out of that came this concept. I realized I have a lot more control over outcomes in my life than I realize that I do. The thing that it takes is discipline, consistency, and accountability. If I have those 3 things in any endeavor that I pursue, I will accomplish those things. And I can change. Remember that movie, The Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger? I can change my stars. You can change your stars by the things that you're doing every single day. You just have to write them down, commit to doing them, make up your mind, and do them every single day. So this is the idea. 21 days, listen, it takes more than 21 days to develop a habit. Okay? That whole 21-day thing is not true. It takes 21 days, though, to stop a bunch of bad habits and start pushing yourself to new habits. So this is a fire under your tail type idea, okay? Do these 5 activities every day, do these 4 activities every week, and do these 5 objectives during the 21 days, and see what kind of just inertia you might be able to begin, some motivation you might be able to start up in the business. I make 10 phone calls, have 3 great conversations every single day. I add a person to my database every day. So that means maybe going to networking groups, getting their contact information and putting it into my database. Name, address, phone number, email. Share a social media post across 3 platforms. Do the 4H Club. It's 45 touches, and I give more details on that. If you're interested, I'll show you. Read 10 pages of a nonfiction personal growth book every day. Every week, I meet 2 people within my industry, try to meet some new realtors or business people or whatever, attend a business networking group, attend a chamber cutting, and eat lunch with one of my strategic business partners during that week. And then finally, sometime during that 21-day period, I start adding people into and creating a referral directory of all my favorite businesses to give to my clients whenever they move. Create a monthly newsletter that you send through the snail mail. Send an email out to your entire database. Create a Google business page and ask for 5 reviews during that 21-day period. And then finally, plan or join an already planned client part of your business. Guys, this is just bare minimum what we ought to be doing if we're trying to market our businesses. Bare minimum. You probably need to be having more conversations every day, but I'm just saying, just to get yourself started, this is a really great opportunity. So if you're interested in that, there's a full color printable download with all the explanation on the left side. It's $8. There's a free 1-page downloadable tracker if you just want to kind of start putting stuff into your business every day. Guys, that's all that I've got for you today. I know we're right at 10 o'clock. Let me do this before we break, because I try to do this in all the times I speak. Can I do a selfie with y'all? Is that all right? So here's what I want you to do. All right, are we all in there? I hope you're in there. Yeah, we're all. Just say, keep making friends. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Keep making friends.
Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all. Hope that was a good thing for you. What's that? Yeah.
I wanted a t-shirt. Can I have a merch t-shirt?
We need to make merch. Yeah, I haven't made any merch yet.
Need a Legion
I have a mug at my house. I tried making a friend maker mug, so I'm working on all that.
Hey, Art.
Yes.
You want to add to your pineapple story the French Cajun culture?
Yeah.
When you have somebody that comes into your home, you put a pineapple on your fireplace, and you're ready for them to leave to take the pineapple off the fireplace.
Oh, that's really
So
cool.
it's a kind way to ask people to leave it.
Okay, I love that. That's really good. I've never heard that before. That's so good.
Yeah, it's like your parents come to stay, like that's the nice way of saying it.
Let's thank Art again for his time today. We do have copies of his book up here, and they are $20. There is Cash App, but I will tell you, like as you know me, don't let that be a deterrent for you not to get one. We're going to take just a quick 5-minute break or so, so everybody can kind of regroup and refocus, and we're going to have our next speaker.